evening and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge to talk again about video games.
Oh yeah.
How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I just started playing the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom the other night.
And like 5 hours in a day.
Yeah, I think I put in, exactly, something like that. Definitely blew away my expectations, and I'd love to talk about it sometime.
Yeah, me too. I'd like to hear about it. I've been playing Persona. I think I just beat the very last boss of the DLC, so all I got to do is watch the ending, and I'm going to move on to other things.
Holy.
Since July 23rd I've been playing this game, so it's been a long time. It took over 130 hours.
Time to move on to something else.
Yeah, to the next game by the same guy, apparently. I only have like 10 days until that comes out, but you know, it's the way she goes. And really, I don't think it's something to complain about, because we're awash right now. You know, if you haven't noticed, there's some good stuff like we just talked about, but there's a lot of junk, man.
Yeah,
there's like the eternal battle going on between light and dark, poop and clean sheets. You know, you know, we saw a lot of failures this year, which we talked about recently, and those were glorious failures. But there's some yet to come, and some that probably won't fail, but are still terrible. You know, you got your FIFA 25 or whatever it's called now.
Oh yeah, holiday season brings the big, the heavy hitters that are mainstays, and won't fail. Like you just said, the FIFA and Call of Duty 7000,
the entertainment or the spiritual equivalent of like seed oil and junk.
Yeah,
it just rots you out from the inside. But we got our FIFA 25 coming. We got our Call of Duty 6. We got our Dragon Age Veilguard. We got our Diablo 4 DLC. We have a Lego Horizon game. Who makes these and for what reason? Can you imagine? This is junk. This is junk, and you know, I don't think it's really for human consumption myself. But if you fancy yourself a connoisseur of video games, a gamer amongst mice and other animals consuming this garbage, with more than a childlike craving for Lego and alloy. I just don't understand.
If you're 10, that's fine. But
if you fancy yourself a gamer, you might be wondering if there's anything else coming out the rest of the year. Yeah. Besides this junk, this hot junk for animals. And you're going to be happy to know that, in fact, there's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
We saw that PlayStation State of Play thing the other day, and don't get me wrong, there was some junk there too. There's a couple of games that I think are worth looking forward to coming in early 2025, which we can probably talk about at a later date. But for the rest of the year, there's a pretty good selection of titles coming too, and we actually had to cut some out so we'd have enough time to talk about the ones we're interested in. But here we are today to present you with games for real gamers coming in Q4 2024. You know, no Westslop need apply. This is only good stuff, and it incidentally is not made by anybody here in the last 3 decades.
It seems so.
In any case, what's the first entry in our list today? Speaking of Persona, you know, it's fitting to continue with this. This is Metaphor Re Fantazio, conceived and directed by Katsura Hashino, the guy behind Persona 5. And incidentally, there's a demo of it already.
Yeah, I've been, I would have played it if, you know, I didn't have other things going, but
if I wasn't playing the last one already.
Yeah, exactly. But it's cool that it's one of those demos that I think gives you access to the start of the game, and then you can carry it over into when you purchase the game, right?
Apparently there's 4 dungeons you have access to, multiple hours of content, and the progress carries over. So
that's pretty
my intention, I guess, is like closer to release date to just kick it off before the full copy arrives. And
might as well. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but there's a lot to look forward to in this game. It's not only Katsura Hashino returning from the Persona design team to make this one possible. There's also Sojima, the art guy, and Meguro, the composer, coming back to lend their help for this one. And I mean, what else is there to say? It's a high fantasy transplant of Persona, completely the same sort of social mechanics, the same idea of the characters inhabiting these Persona-like archetypal mythological creatures or figures, right?
Yeah, no doubt it's going to share a lot of similarities, and even looking at the art, you can tell it looks like a Persona game, but it does have its own flair to the art style too, so when you watch the game, it doesn't seem like it's just
it's absolutely done by the same artist, but the themes are radically different, I guess.
Exactly,
especially given the more magical realist focus of the Persona games. Here you're not looking at modern Tokyo or concrete structures or anything like that at all, right?
That's
not the same kind of clothes, nothing like that at all.
Yes.
So. And the monsters that we've seen so far look quite different as well. So I'm really looking forward to this game. And I respect Hashino's work, more importantly, right? This is something we're going to have to talk about another day, but the difference between the Persona 5 that he made and the Persona 5 Royal content that he didn't make is so stark And I was just sitting there thinking, man, I wish I just saw the original ending and didn't waste my time on the rest of this, you know? So I'm stoked to get in on the ground floor when the thing's coming out and just experience it. Experience it as the author intended on the first day. So that's Metaphor Fantazio. There's lots about it out there, and you can try it for yourself right now.
Play it for free on, play the demo.
Looking forward to that game. It's coming out on October 11th.
Nice.
And after that, we've got Ys 10 Nordics, and it is the 10th Ys game, obviously. I think this one is worked on by the same guy who's made a lot of them, since like 2, I believe. It was Toshihiro Kondo, who's now the president at Nihon Falcom. And it's pretty cool because, once again, we have a situation like this, like we have with Miyazaki or Kojima, where the creative and business interests of the company, they coincide in a single individual. So, I mean, you don't see things like this in the West, where the guy who is directing and writing the game is also the person conducting the business operation.
Yeah, that kind of overlap absolutely does not exist.
Imagine Bobby Kotick writing a game. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Can any of you imagine that? Oh boy.
Or those dummies. I don't even remember the EA dummies. You know, those guys and their dumb haircuts and their suits.
If I think about it hard enough, it'll come to me. But
I'm
it's
pretty
not
sure
worth it.
They're probably not good at writing their own names. They're not writing their names. But
yeah, definitely not. Yeah. It's crazy that this guy here, what's his name, Toshihiro Kondo, like he, like you said, he's the third president of this company, but he still is working directly on the games. He's getting his hands.
He's more prolific now than ever before, actually, if you go look at the credits of the things he's done. He has some involvement in the Legends of Hero series as well, directing and writing a little bit, but he's, for most of the modern Ys games, I think since 6, he's been the director and or the scenario writer.
Wow.
So it's pretty impressive, man. There's a lot of games involved there, and for those of you who aren't familiar, Ys is I guess you could say it has the same like anime inspired art style and world building conventions as the Legend of Heroes series, but it's more action oriented.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got less political drama, and it usually involves a smaller cast of characters in a strange land and some misfortune befalling them that forces them to make themselves at home in the circumstances. So I don't really know what the storyline is going to be in this one. And I'm not interested in finding out beforehand. I'm interested in this because the author is competent, frankly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And I think that his work has matured with age. It's gotten better, right? So
yeah, I agree. I would play it just based on that alone.
Yeah. Next, we have Slitterhead from Toyama, the guy from Sony Japan studio behind Gravity Rush 1 and 2. He's a really imaginative and cool dude. Like, his games have always been lower budget, but Gravity Rush 1 and 2 are really, really cool world building exercises.
Yeah.
You know, the lore is like expansive and mythological, and it involves ideas of God and like human purpose. It's pretty crazy stuff, and like
fun to play too. Yeah, Gravity Rush was a blast. Yeah, right? Was it not? Like, honestly,
have you ever played anything like that before or after? No, I haven't.
Not really.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's such cool games, you know. And the fact that they have that kind of like whimsical gameplay style combined with these really strange and metaphysical themes was appealing to me when I played that game. So I'm really looking forward to that here. I think it's going to be something similar. Like, it looks very strange, this game.
It does,
you infest people as a parasite and, you know, can apparently use their abilities and stuff like that. It's
horrifying, but also kind of goofy and weird.
Yeah, I can't imagine how it's going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
It's going to be fantastic, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure about that for the same reason that we were just talking about with the last game, right? Like, the author is competent, and his previous work gives us reason to have hope in what he's making this time.
Yeah, you know? 100%.
He also did something like, I think it was called Siren, the Siren games on PS2.
Yeah.
Another series of horror games in the vein of Silent Hill that were well received and still have a cult following today. You'll find them active on all the PS2 torrent sites, like they're at the top of the list. So
that's right. The
ROM sites. So this is Slitterhead from Toyama, director of Gravity Rush. Something worth checking out. You may not have heard of before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Next we have Fantazian Neo Dimension, which is actually not a new game.
Not a new game at all, but this one is particularly...
It's new for people who don't have an iPhone, which is probably people who play video games, I imagine.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people have iPhones who don't even know about this game, even the ones who do play video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This game was a product of I guess Apple creating their game store.
Legitimacy,
and they wanted
it's by Sakaguchi.
Yes,
Hironobu Sakaguchi,
that's right. The father of Final Fantasy, right?
And the scenario writer and director of the scenario writer, and the guy behind most of the ideas in my opinion, the best one, which is 9.
Right. Yeah. So I guess Apple technically, helped fund this game to get it on their store, and maybe they signed a timed exclusive agreement at some point, because now it's basically being blown open and releasing for every system now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. They paid for it to come into existence with the stipulation that it would remain exclusive for a period of time, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And now the guy can see it, spread to other platforms. So
it's you know what, this one's cool because I wanted to get my hands on some kind of Apple device just to play this game, or some kind of emulation thing, just to play this game, because how can you not?
Yeah, if you landed here, you probably don't need us to tell you about Hironobu Sakaguchi and why it's worth paying attention to these games. But this is a big deal. This guy hasn't made an RPG like this in quite some time. And if you look into the circumstances around its making, everything becomes even more appealing, right? Like he talks about how, after working on AAA games, he thinks it's worth going back to traditional systems of making games. It allows you to tell better stories with less focus on all of this technological and mechanical tomfoolery, right? Something we talk about frequently on this channel, right? Sometimes more impoverished technical means are better for conveying a more noble idea, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Simplicity of means is more suitable to a loftier
concept. It's easier to get it out there.
Yeah, that's right. And it's cool to see this guy express the same ideas, and of course none of his appetite for world building is stymied on account of that, right? What's interesting here too is that in the previous Final Fantasy games, they're famous for their beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds and the art involved. You can buy books of those and stuff like that.
True, yeah.
Here, apparently the guy has a passion for tabletop
diorama
and stuff
art,
like that. Dioramas, and instead of pre-rendered backgrounds, there's dioramas. The whole game takes place on essentially dioramas that he and his team created.
That's wild.
That's wild, yeah. I've never seen anything like that as long as I've been, 30 years playing these kinds of things, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's exciting to have something from Sakaguchi that at the same time represents a measure of material and artistic innovation, even though it's technologically scaled back, right?
Yeah.
But what I expect from this is a classic JRPG from the guy who literally invented the genre as we know it, right?
Yeah, true.
Something to look forward to if anything ever was. And there's one more that deserves a spot on our list today.
Yeah, quick mention I think is worth it for
it's the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. I probably gushed about these games to you before, and definitely on this channel, but I think the Soul Reaver, the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver games, including Soul Reaver 1, 2, and Legacy of Kain Defiance, the games that Amy Hennig is responsible for.
That's right.
These are masterpiece.
Yeah.
This is a masterpiece of a trilogy, to my estimation. It does have some relation to a previous game, Blood Omen 1, made by Silicon Knights. And there's some tie-in with another game actually made by Glenn Schofield, the guy behind Callisto Protocol.
The
Blood
Dead
Omen
Space,
2. I thought both of those were pretty good games too, but they don't hold a candle to the Amy Hennig trilogy, which is really define what Legacy of Kain is. And if you've never played this before, it's this epic fantasy world where vampires are at war with this alien race, and they triumph and they take over the world, but because they've destroyed the balance in the world, it falls into decay, and this guy is born who's supposed to restore that balance, the blue guy on the cover.
Right.
And the guy who rules the world behind him there, he kills him for that. And the whole trilogy is about him attempting to fix the order of nature that was disrupted when Kain, the vampire guy, became the ruler of the world,
Wow.
And they're classic action adventure games, I guess, in the style of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Or Majora's Mask.
They're linear, not very open. I mean, these are old games, and that's what sticks out to me the most. Is it's cool for me to see, some of the oldest franchises in gaming coming back. Like you said, there's a reason, because they're masterpieces.
They are masterpieces. These games, there's not much like them out there, and especially at that time, dude. You could argue there was nothing like it at the time, especially coming out of Western studios. People were making things like Spyro the Dragon. You know what I mean?
Spyro's okay.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
Far
it's not
worse,
bad, but it's not the same kind of thing.
But no, definitely not.
This is like a novel. This is a detailed act of world building.
And it had some of the earliest and best examples of voice acting.
It did. Voice acting is. I don't even think they changed.
They didn't change.
Amazing.
No, they don't have.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It looks from the trailer that they showed that they're doing some tweaks to the assets because, up-resing it, the textures in the first one were flat. They literally have to do something there.
Yeah.
I hope they don't change it a lot artistically. That's one thing I have to say, because for me now, I've become totally I cannot stand the idea of a remake or a remaster that alters the art, as though that doesn't matter. But other than that, I'm really excited to revisit these games. I've been talking about this for a long time, and I'm happy it's here. Amy Hennig is one of the few Western video game authors that I still unhesitatingly can say that I respect her work,
definitely.
At least from before. Uncharted is still pretty cool. That she was responsible for, but there's nothing like this, bro.
No.
If you're not interested in Dragon Age Veilguard, well, these are the games for you, buddy. And I hope you've had a good time listening to this video. Please subscribe, and check back next week for another one.
Oh yeah, thank you.